Good evening and welcome to Newswatch this 3rd of August 2020. Thank you for joining us to give you the latest updates on this live broadcast. My name is Tony Omoni and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Let's begin with our top story. Now, the country has continued to register high cases of COVID-19 infections, with Health CS Dr. Rashid Aman calling on those with respiratory illnesses to take extra care during this cold season. CS, who spoke in Nairobi during the daily COVID-19 briefing, said seasonal variations, including extreme temperatures, have been associated with increased morbidity and mortality among people with respiratory diseases. In today's numbers, 544 people have tested positive, with 8 healthcare workers succumbing to the disease since March. Our reporter Mark Kimondo begins our bulletin tonight with this report.
The country was able to analyze 12,653 samples in the last 24 hours, in which 544 people turned positive for the killer virus, bringing to 22,579 the number of positive cases in the country, with the cumulative COVID-19 tests rising to 379.
263 patients have recovered from the disease. From this number, 176 are from the home-based care program, while 87 have been discharged from various hospitals, bringing the total number of recoveries to 8,740.
However, on a sad note, 13 people have succumbed to the virus, this taking the total COVID-19 fatalities to 382. Of the 13 fatalities, 10 of them had underlying medical conditions. Males are still leading in COVID-19 cases, with more investigation into this conducted. Some believe that the fact that more males are contracting the virus than females is attributed to the nature of jobs.
315 are male, 229 are female.
Nairobi registered the highest number of the new cases after recording 412 cases, a majority of which were identified in Langata, Westlands, Dagoretti North, and in Embakasi East. Kiambu County accounted for 27 of today's cases, Machakos and Kajiado recording 17 cases each, with Garissa, Uasin Gishu, Mombasa recording 16, 14, and 9 cases respectively. Those with respiratory infections have been urged to be very cautious now that their lives are in danger.
They seem to be having an audio challenge with that story there. Now, the National Police Service has launched a digital occurrence book, OB, to ease services in this sector. Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai said that technology, among other benefits, will ensure that all entries made are a permanent record that cannot be edited. He said the initiative will ensure better and more efficient management of reported cases right from police stations. Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who presided over the launch, said citizens will no longer suffer because of the issue of missing files, terming it a thing of the past.
I am glad to report that the pilot project has succeeded in Nairobi, as demonstrated by our officers, who have done an excellent demonstration for our digital occurrence book operates. So far, 210 desktop computers have been installed at police stations and posts within Nairobi City County, while 10,181 iPads have been issued to police officers working within Nairobi.
From the OB, which is presented out maybe even through that tablet, you will be able to receive the OB number, it becomes the case file, and that goes all the way to the court process. And ODPP, I know you're very happy because no files will start missing. I can assure you the kind of infrastructure that has been put in place ensures that this data and this information is secure.
There's an animal in this country called the file. That animal has been a cause of misery everywhere. It's the basis on which people seek rent. There's some funny thing called the file. You know, nunua chai, file ipatikane, ongea na wazee, ili file ipatikane. Hao wazee sasa lazima wapotee, because you see hakuna the file, the story of the file hakuna. I actually am standing here today in the presence of you, Inspector General, DPP, and everybody, as a proud citizen of this country, to say we have begun the final funeral to that thing called the file.
Okay, the perennial human congestion at the vital busy Likoni crossing channel is set to end following the construction of floating footbridge that will link Mombasa Island to the mainland south. The construction work for the 1.7 billion shilling pedestrian bridge by the China Road and Bridge Corporation has started at the Liwatoni area of Mombasa Island. The project, which is set for completion in November this year, is being undertaken by the State Department of Infrastructure through its implementing agency, the Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA. According to Coast Regional Commissioner John Elungata, all safety protocols will be observed. Patrobo Juang has the story.
Coast Regional Commissioner John Elungata told the press that construction work has started this week and is expected to be completed in November this year. The floating footbridge is expected to connect the Likoni side at Raspovu area near the Kenya Ferry Services headquarters, enabling residents in Mombasa Island and mainland south to use the facility. Elungata noted that the bridge will also link up the neighboring Kwale County and reduce the time it takes to queue at the ferry. The official further said the floating bridge provides an alternative to the ferries and will in the long run enhance trade and integration between the residents of the island and mainland south.
Na tunatamaa sana kwamba daraja hiyo iweze kukamilika. Tunajua kwamba contract imetolewa na inajengwa, itakuja tu kufungwa. Kwa hivyo kile ambacho kinafanywa saizi ni kujenga yale maeneo ambayo daraja itafungiliwa. Kwa hivyo ndio maana tumeenda hapo, na kwa sababu tunataka kuwa na project ambayo tutakuwa tunakumbuka hapa Likoni kwamba vijana pia walichangia kufanya katika huu mradi wa kazi mtaani. Tunataka vijana wafieke ile sehemu inaelekea katika ujenzi wa ile ferry.
The floating suspension bridge is expected to be fastened by pins and hinges and guardrails in a bid to ensure the pedestrians are safe while they use the facility. Up to 300,000 people and 6,000 vehicles cross the busy Likoni channel daily using their commuter vessels. Elungata at the same time urged residents in the coastal region to conform to the new way of life and adhere to all public health regulations in place to mitigate the spread of the viral disease COVID-19. A subcontractor, Evans Mamanyi, who had accompanied the RC, said that construction work for the causeway and a holding bay will be completed by the end of this month.
This project, we have a timeline as a subcontractors. We are supposed to do this project within 1 month, meaning that our staffs and our partners, we are going to burn night oil to ensure that we implement the project as required.
The contractor, China Road and Bridge Corporation, CRBC, is at the construction site at the Liwatoni area of Mombasa, where the floating bridge dubbed Likoni Floating Pedestrian Bridge will start towards the mainland south. The project will be undertaken by the State Department of Infrastructure through its implementing agency, the Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA. Patrobo Juang, Hope TV News Watch.
Well, that report from Patrobo Juang takes us to a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Just stay with us.
Dunia ni mali ya Bwana na vyote vijazavyo.
Nguruwe ni mali ya Bwana au?
Ni mali ya Bwana.
Bata ni mali ya Bwana?
Ni mali.
Wewe kula basi. Acha mambo mengi.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Muislamu yoyote ambaye anamkataa Yesu, kwanza sisi tunamjua ni kafiri.
Bila huyu Yesu, mtu aendi kwa Baba.
Ungana na walimu wa neno wanapochambua masuala tata katika Biblia, wakiyalinganisha na vitabu vingine vya kidini.
Je, kuna ushahidi wowote Muhammad aliwahi ona Qur'ani? Na hii Qur'ani muliitoa wapi? Halo?
Piga simu moja kwa moja na pia uchangie kupitia SMS na Facebook.
Itawezekana kitabu cha Biblia ambayo mwanakiamini kuwa ni kitabu cha Mwenyezi Mungu ishindwe kumtabiri mtu ambaye ana wafuasi zaidi ya bilioni 100 duniani.
Je, Mohamed amekufa ama yuko hai?
Ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 2 hadi saa 4 ya usiku kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Hope TV.
Join John Carson every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Carson every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live.
What comes to your mind when you think of the perfect home for your family? Is it the beauty, the comfort, the security, the convenience, or even the affordability? Victory Gardens offers exactly that and much more. It is just 10 minutes drive from Kitengela town and 3.8 kilometers off the tarmac. This gated community project comes with solar street lighting, Maram roads, beautiful trees, 24-hour security, and water connected to every plot. The best part is, families are already living here. Call us today on 0702 831083 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Optiven Limited, the pacesetters in real estate.
Welcome back to this live broadcast of Hope TV News Watch. We now want to go back to our first story, where the country's total infections has hit 22,597 after 544 more Kenyans tested positive for COVID-19. Health CS Dr. Rashid Aman, while giving the daily update, said 499 patients are Kenyans while 45 are foreigners. Mark Kimondo has the report.
The country was able to analyze 2,653 samples in the last 24 hours, in which 544 people turned positive for the killer virus, bringing to 22,579 the number of positive cases in the country, with the cumulative COVID-19 tests rising to 379.
263 patients have recovered from the disease. From this number, 176 are from the home-based care program, while 87 have been discharged from various hospitals, bringing the total number of recoveries to 8,740.
However, on a sad note, 13 people have succumbed to the virus, this taking the total COVID-19 fatalities to 382. Of the 13 fatalities, 10 of them had underlying medical conditions. Males are still leading in COVID-19 cases, with more investigation into this conducted. Some believe that the fact that more males are contracting the virus than females is attributed to the nature of jobs.
315 are male, 229 are female.
Nairobi registered the highest number of the new cases after recording 412 cases, a majority of which were identified in Lang'ata, Westlands, Dagoretti North, and Embakasi East. Kiambu County accounted for 27 of today's cases, Machakos and Kajiado recording 17 cases each, with Garissa, Uasin Gishu, Mombasa recording 16, 14, and 9 cases respectively. Those with respiratory infections have been urged to be very cautious now that their lives are in danger in this time when COVID-19 is surging in the nation. Health CAS Dr. Rashid Aman, however, cleared that everyone getting into the country must produce COVID-19 free certificate, this being one of the measures to ensuring COVID-19 positive foreigners are handled properly on the border points. The Minister of Health is calling on Kenyans to abide by the COVID-19 prevention guidelines to reduce the high spread of the invisible virus. As the economy opens up with Kenyans going back to business, Kenyans are left with a high responsibility of preventing themselves from the killer virus that has claimed the lives of over 650,000 people globally. Mark Kimondo for Hope TV, Nairobi.
As coronavirus cases continue to increase in the country, the National Nurses Association of Kenya now says county governments are not prepared to handle the pandemic. This comes after one nurse on Sunday succumbed to the virus. According to the Nurses Union, the nurse developed breathing complications and was transferred to Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital, where another test was done and the result was positive for COVID-19. The association urged both the national and county governments to move with speed and ensure that healthcare workers' demands are met. The workers, among other things, want the government to provide them with adequate and quality personal protective equipment. Grace Ongui has more.
At the pace we are going, we shall find no one, no healthcare worker, no healthcare professional at their places of work, not because they don't want to work, but because they are unable to work because they are sick. At the pace we are going.
It takes a wise man to learn from the mistakes of their friends. That being the case, our government pre-COVID-19 had adequate time to study the trends of the impact of COVID-19 on healthcare services in the first world countries that were first hit by COVID-19. If the state of their healthcare services is anything to go by, then that should have been a learning strategy for the government to adequately prepare healthcare workers in the country on the deadly virus. According to the National Nurses Association, 3 nurses have lost their lives in just 5 months since COVID-19 struck, bringing the tally to 8 healthcare workers who have succumbed to the virus. Among them, a 32-year-old nurse, Marian Awor, who passed on Sunday, leaving a week-old baby boy.
What happened yesterday, we lost Marian Awor, only 32 years, at her prime age, was working at Rachuonyo County Hospital.
Enough concerns have been raised by healthcare personnel regarding the state of their working environments. Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU, in their monthly status reports, have not failed to mention issues of inadequate protective equipment for healthcare workers, failure of harmonization of risk allowances, and insurance support. In the address by the National Nurses Association of Kenya, the similar issues have been raised, begging the question of whether anything will be done. Some of the demands include provision of adequate and quality PPEs, proper training for all healthcare workers, proper adequate psychological support to healthcare workers, employment of more workers, payment of healthcare workers, motivation through enhanced risk allowance. Part of the defense in fighting COVID-19 is quality PPEs. According to the National Nurses of Kenya president, poor quality PPE is hazardous as it gives the healthcare workers a false sense of protection, as was the case of the deceased lady Marian Awor.
Very, very unfortunate, if not evil, that some procurement officers are still procuring substandard PPEs and are giving them the healthcare professionals. We have said before that you'd rather not, as a healthcare professional, not don any PPE at all than don a substandard PPE.
The President, Uhuru Kenyatta, asked governors to harmonize their efforts to ensure they adequately prepare by increasing their bed capacity to 300, something that has been fought by healthcare personnel who decry that bed capacity is not enough and that similar effort should be put in hiring healthcare personnel.
We are seeing governors, this is just laughable, we are seeing governors proudly, without shame, saying that, oh, I have 19 beds, I have opened this facility, I have 9 beds ICU, I have 5 beds ICU, I have bought 10 ventilators, and they have not paid their workers.
So far, 5 hospitals have been closed, including Pumwani Maternity Hospital, which is the largest maternity facility in the country, after 64 members of their staff tested positive. This situation has undoubtedly put a strain on the city's healthcare system, as most patients will now crowd in other hospitals, causing congestion. Grace Songoi, Hope TV Newswatch.
The High Court has issued conservatory orders stopping the implementation of the executive order that was issued by the President listing the judiciary under the presidency. In his ruling, Justice James Makau said the order should be stopped until a case filed by the Law Society of Kenya is heard and determined. Makau said LSK certified the principles regarding granting of conservatory order after proving that lack of it would have led to violation of the Constitution. George Jesse reports.
An open battlefront has been rekindled between the executive and the judiciary following a ruling by Justice James Makau that has suspended the Executive Order No. 1 of 2020 by President Uhuru Kenyatta, issued on May 11th. In his ruling, Justice James Makau has said that failure to intervene in the battle between the two arms of government will be an affront against the Constitution and a violation of rights or freedom in the Bills of Rights. The case filed by LSK, suing the Office of the Attorney General and the Head of Public Service, Joseph Kinyua, argues that the restructuring of institutions, including the Public Service Commission, Teachers Service Commission, the National Police Service Commission, and the Independent Boundaries and Electoral Commission, is a move meant to control institutions that are outside its control. Enraged Chief Justice David Maraga also differed with President Uhuru Kenyatta, saying the judiciary, as opposed to other ministries and non-governmental departments, cannot be subjected to an executive order, arguing that the judiciary is an independent body, further creating a divide in the already sour relationship. Maraga said that the order was without effect, saying the three arms of government are co-equal and co-substantial. The Attorney General, Paul Kariuki, had defended the President's action, saying the executive order was issued within the law. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Joe Jesse.
The Mulembe Youth Movement has thrown its weight behind the contentious revenue allocation formula that has seen sharp divisions among elected leaders both in the National Assembly and in the Senate. According to the youth movement, the new allocation formula is being distorted by politicians who want to achieve selfish ambitions. The youths have slammed leaders opposed to the formula, saying it's creating an unnecessary standoff that is hurting the operations of the counties. Faith Imani has more.
The youth have slammed leaders opposed to the formula, saying it is creating an unnecessary standoff that is hurting the operations of the counties.
That the social contract theories like Thomas Hobbes and Jean-Jacques Rousseau postulate that the resources in a Leviathan always follow functions, and consequently, functions are implemented depending on population dynamics. On the flip side, the same populace is expected to support the Leviathan by fundraising for resources through taxation, either directly or indirectly, for implementation of projects and distribution of public goods. From this concept, the per capita allocation comes into play. The theories also did not envisage a scenario where the greatest contributors to the Leviathan are the lowest recipients of the values allocated by the Leviathan. They envisage a scenario where equity, not equality, would flourish, where the marginalized would have an opportunity to grow their wealth and welfare with the assistance of the Leviathan through an equalization mechanism, just the way the Commission for Revenue Allocation has established and continue to implement the Equalization Fund.
The youth leaders say the recommendations seek to address 4 primary objectives, which include enhancing service delivery, promoting balanced development, incentivizing counties to optimize capacity to raise revenue, and the prudent use of public resources.
That's why, as the young people, we have come together after having this vigorous and rigorous consultation to make this position that as the youth from Mulembe Nation, we are actually supporting the revenue allocation formula that has been stipulated by the CRA together with the amendments that have been provided. Why? Because the reasons that have been given: one, we support resource allocation to our people. We have our counties that people who have been marginalized, we don't have access to education, access to healthcare is a challenge, infrastructure, agriculture, and what have you. So we're actually encouraging and propping up for more resources, and we've been given a figure of 3.6 billion that is coming into our economy. That particular money, when it comes to down there to the mashinani, I think is going to sprout the economy. We are going to have more opportunities for our young people. We are going to have more opportunities for industries. We are going to have better roads. We are going to have better health facilities, and we are also going to have better even early childhood education for our people.
Meanwhile, legislators from arid and semi-arid lands under the Pastorized Parliament Group have urged senators to reject the third basis formula come tomorrow. The 7 MPs said the senators should defy divisive politics that will destroy the country and damage the rights of marginalized citizens. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Faith Imani Mugo.
Moving on, the Internal Affairs Unit, mandated to receive and investigate complaints against the police, has received a consignment of ICT equipment from the U.S. through her Nairobi embassy. Assistant Inspector William Singwei said the 26 equipment kits will go a long way to ensure sufficiency in the unit and efficient complaint management structure. He said the kit will help in the realization of the unit's vision of having an integrated information management system. Speaking to the press, the Internal Affairs Unit Director clarified on the incidences of police brutality in the last 4 months during this COVID-19 pandemic, saying that the unit is working round the clock to bring perpetrators to justice.
The ICT support received today will go a long way in ensuring efficient execution of this constitutional mandate. The ICT equipments issued today are key in ensuring that IAU realizes its vision of having an integrated information management system. By this gesture, the unit will also realize its dream of having an efficient, anonymous reporting information system.
Internal Affairs has partnered with local and international stakeholders. And these partners have for a long time provided support in the form of equipment and training that has helped us as a unit to prepare our investigations in readiness for our challenging work. As one of our key partners, the U.S. government, through its Kenyan embassy, has been of immense assistance to our unit.
The Seafarers Union of Kenya, SUK, has commended the support the government is giving towards the revival of seafaring in the country. Speaking in Mombasa, the General Secretary, Steve Owaki, said the ongoing efforts have ensured the exploration of the potential that exists in the maritime sector and, to a large extent, the blue economy. According to him, the existing agreement between the government and the Mediterranean Shipping Company, MSC, has led to the employment of over 500 Kenyan youth. At the same time, Owaki refuted claims of bias in employment of youths in this sector.
I'm sounding caution and a serious warning that the management of the Rift Valley.
Serikali tunaishukuru kwa sababu ile kitengo cha serikali kinachohusika na ubaharia kimekuwa na mchango mkubwa sana kwa upande wetu kama mabaharia. Na inakuwa jambo la kusikitisha na kusajabisha ukisikia ati sisi mabaharia wenyewe tena ati tunaanza kukashifu viongozi wa serikali kwa wakati huo.
Kitendo kilichotumika juzi kukashifu viongozi wa serikali, hiyo sisi hatukuwa nao pamoja. Tuadania kitendo hicho.
Mama yetu PS amejishughulisha mpaka akafanya mikataba, na mpaka sasa tukisipokuwa ni hii janga limeingia, tulikuwa tayari tumepeleka watu 400 kwenye MSC na wengine walikuwa tayari kwenda, lakini ikatokea hili janga. Sasa nashangaa watu wale wanazungumzia nini? Na hao kwanza si wanachama, wengine wameresign wenyewe, wamerudi wakachukua mikono yao wakaandika barua kila mahali ulimwengu mzima kutuharibia kazi, kwa sababu wakati tunapigana sisi wenyewe na wale wanaotupa kazi wasikie tunagombana. What do you think they will think?
Sisi tumshukuru sana PS kwa sababu mpaka dakika sasa baharia ilikuwa passport buku yake ina expire kwa miaka 5. Na PS amekubali kulingana na ofisi yake ya serikali, baharia sasa itakuwa kama vile passport inavyo expire, na tumeshukuru sana.
Divided we beg. Together we bargain.
A billion-shilling Ugunja Sega Ukwala water project has reportedly stalled following delays by the implementing agency to compensate landowners. Locals, led by Ugunja Member of Parliament Opiyo Wandayi, appealed to the Water Cabinet Secretary Cecily Kariuki to move with speed and prevail upon the management of the Rift Valley Water Works Development Agency to release funds to ease implementation of the project. Speaking in Ugunja, the legislator said over 50 peasant farmers allowed the project to pass on their lands after they were promised compensation, but months later, nothing has been done.
I'm sounding caution and a serious warning that the management of the Rift Valley Waterworks Development Agency must move with speed and provide us with answers as to the whereabouts of the compensation for the lands that they took from my people for purposes of this project. But secondly, they must come out clearly and assure us that the project is not going to stall on account of their lethargy or on account of their willful sabotage. Because what else can it be? Somebody somewhere must be sabotaging this project because perhaps it is in Nyanza or it is in Siaya or it is in Ugunja. We are going to pursue those officers who are responsible for the delay. They know the delay in the implementation of this project.
All right, we are taking another short commercial break. When we come back, of course, we'll be looking at what is happening in business. Keep it Hope TV.
Kuletea burudani safi kutoka wanamuziki wa nyimbo za sifa na ibada, mahojiano ya moja kwa moja na mafunzo ya hali ya juu.
Dhamira ya mtu ikifa anaweza fanya anything. Because kile kinanitofautisha na mbuzi ni dhamira.
There was this time niliambia Mungu, mimi samahani Mungu, lakini naona umenifanya mimi kuwa daraja. Sitaki.
Ni mahali pa uchipuzi na ulezi wa vipaji.
Mwimbaji anaweza itisha akitaka, lakini unajua hiyo ni sauti hajanunua. Hujanunua, hiyo ni umebarikiwa nayo. So hiyo unaweza mupeane aidha bure ama. Lakini hii pande nyingine sisi tumeinvest, ni investment ona.
Tunabeba mwili, lakini mimi sikujua hii ni maagano nafanya.
Ungana naye Mwalimu Shaban Brima kila Ijumaa saa 2 jioni na marudio kila Jumamosi saa 10 jioni.
Machozi ya furaha nishangaze baba, kwa ushuhuda wangu watambua wewe ni Mungu.
Welcome back. Now, Mombasa County's Pride in Paradise Resort has reopened to domestic tourists for business after a 4 months hiatus. The hotel had suspended operations in March following government's directives to the public to avoid unnecessary travels and bans on international flights.
I can assure you, over the past 3 months, we have really looked at the safety measures that we want to operate with. We are operating with the new normal. I will quickly take you through some of the safety measures. First, a check-in. Before you come in, as soon as you come in, you are asked to fill a form. Your temperatures are checked. You're asked to sanitize yourself. And we make sure that you have your masks on. And just as you get to the check-in desks, we have the large plexiglass screens at the check-in desks. Again, we try and minimize and avoid as many touch points as possible. In the rooms, we have eliminated and removed some decor items like the throw cushions. Again, to avoid touch points. We have our rooms checked in with the UV light just to ensure that the rooms have been thoroughly cleaned. Our TV remotes and all other touch points are sterilized. Masks and hand sanitizers are extra amenities.
We had a workforce of about 350 staff, both on permanent and contracts. And as business is picking up, we've come up with a schedule where we have almost all of them tested for COVID and they have certificates. So we've come up with a schedule where you know, they're working in a cycle of a month or 15 days. So then we get everybody taken care of. So as business peaks, everybody is going to get an opportunity to come back.
Now, the government says the tea industry regulations and their schedule of compliance requirements are ready to be implemented and should start immediately. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya said the implementation of the tea regulation should be fully executed by 28th February 2021 as set out in the Crops Tea Industry Regulation 2020. Speaking while releasing the implementation timelines at Kilimo House, the CS said all tea sectors had been given adequate time to familiarize with the regulatory requirements and create their own internal capacity. Now, the CS also directed the Agriculture and Food Authority to undertake inspection of the newly acquired e-auction system to ensure seamless operations.
I want to announce that the tea industry regulations are now ready for implementation. I've seen this before. The journey on which we are embarked in the tea industry is driven by the government's unwavering commitment to address the persistent problems that have bedeviled the sector. Eroded smallholder incomes and undermined sector growth. These regulations, shortly to be followed by a new Tea Act currently before Parliament, are only one of the many measures that the government will implement to reverse the dwindling fortunes of the tea sector in Kenya and to improve the entire value chain.
Now, the resumption of international flights has opened a new dawn to SMEs in the country that depended solely on import and export. The SMEs that are the lifeline of Kenya's economy, constituting about 98% of all the businesses in the country, are slowly regaining the lost glory after most of them shifted to other models to make ends meet. Joe Jesse had earlier spoken to one of the entrepreneurs in the importation of cosmetic products.
The shift in dynamics of business in the last 4 months forced Christopher Obwar, an entrepreneur in the SME sector, to change his tactics in doing business. Having ventured into the cosmetic business 4 years ago and establishing 2 shops, the change in the business scope due to the COVID-19 challenged him to venture into another field.
I had 2 shops, the one in Agro House and the one at RNG Plaza. It forced me to close the one at RNG Plaza. Reason being, there were no products. But now, being that there are flights coming into Kenya, I hope we'll be able to import the products and the business will pick up.
Having ventured into the business that has been touted to be lucrative due to the important role of enhancing one's inherent beauty and physical features, the after sale in one of the shops doubled, but this was short-lived.
It forced me to close the business because before we used to import products, let's say the cosmetic products, and the hair, all the perfumes we used to import. But now the government banned flights from China, from US, and from Canada.
However, the resumption of international flights on 1st of August offers a ray of hope to Christopher, even to his employees, after he was forced to lay off some of them.
What I did, for the first 2 months, I used to pay them half. But you see, I only pay you what you have sold. But now you are selling nothing. How do I expect me to pay you? Yes. So they understood. In fact, one of them is doing the kazi kwa vijana. Yes. I hope he's managing well. The other one, nilipata kitu kidogo namtumia. Yes.
With mid-market cosmetics and local brands gaining popularity among Kenyans, Christopher Obwar has one plea to the government.
They should, in fact, boost the SMEs by giving us, waiving some of the taxes that they did. 2, they can, if in form of loan or grant, they should give the SMEs so that we can continue to, we can add more stock.
For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Joe Jesse.
Right, we have now come to the end of this live broadcast of Newswatch. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time. My name is Tony Omoni, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Muridhi. Have a good night.